been brainwashed by life.
Oh yes I have.
Oh, wasted years.
I'm talking about way here.
Oh, I'm not seeing eye to eye.
I just can't see the things I should see.
Alright, YouTube, September 16, 2010. I'm going to talk about a few things during this video on my way to work, but most of them are going to have to do with MMA, mixed martial arts. Okay, first things first. Last night there was a Ultimate Fight Night, or UFC Fight Night, number 22. Nate Marquardt and something Paul Harris, Rusev Paul Harris. It was the main event. I didn't get to watch it. I was really busy at work, so I didn't get out of there in time. But this morning, I managed to find the Ross Pearson and Cole Miller fight. That was pretty good. It was pretty even. Pearson, I think, is more of a striker, and Cole Miller is more just a well-rounded, pretty good in most areas. Pearson was a better striker, but Miller had more reach, so that's why it was pretty even. Kind of went back and forth. And then, it kind of out of nowhere, Miller got Pearson with a hard right and dazed him, and then just landed a few pretty good shots, and it was a TKO. So Cole Miller got that one. He'll fight somebody better next time. He's looking pretty good, so we'll be eager to see what he looks like against a better name. He's moving on up the ranks. And then I managed to find the main event, the Marquardt and Paul Harris fight. It was pretty good. It seemed Marquardt was a slightly better striker, had a better reach, so he was doing better on the feet. And then Paul Harris started to try to grapple him, and something weird happened. They were rolling around on the ground. Paul Harris seemed to be getting the better of it, just seemed more comfortable down there, and then started to get him in like a leg lock or an ankle lock, which I'm not a fan of in the first place. But Nate pulled right out of it, and then Paul Harris looked kind of stunned, and he turned to the ref and pointed at Nate Marquardt's feet like he thought it was greased or something. And then, I mean, as soon as he looked away, he looked back, and then Nate was tagging him with shots from the top, and managed to get a TKO out of it. So it's kind of weird ending. Kind of leaves kind of an asterisk on the win, but if you're Paul Harris, man, you can't call timeout during the fight for any reason, so that was a dumb move. Anyway, Marquardt won, and so he's good. We'll see who they put him up against next. He's fought for the title, didn't fare very well, but we'll see what happens with his career. Anyway, oh yeah, and when I got home last night, they were playing some Gracie documentary, and just kind of about the history of UFC and its inception, and how the Gracie Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu kind of dominated the whole tournament at first, and it was kind of the basis of this whole MMA game. It's kind of evolved from those jiu-jitsu techniques. So that was interesting to learn a bit more about the history. Learned a few things I didn't know. But yeah, I mean, I've been a fan of the style and just the family for a long time, because from a very early age I was wondering why. I know they have boxing matches, and I knew they had wrestling. I knew the wrestling was fake. I don't think I ever was fooled. I think at like 3 I realized this is just a show. It's like a play for people. So I was always asking, why don't they have a tournament? Why don't they have some kind of competition to show who's the biggest and baddest, you know, of all the combative fighting disciplines? And so whenever it started, you know, of course we were a real religious family, so we didn't watch anything like that at the house, and we didn't have cable or pay-per-view or anything like that. But I remember just hearing it around the neighborhood that, hey, this is started up, and it's crazy entertaining, and you'll never see anything else like it, which is true. So it's, you know, eventually a few years later, I saw the videos, and I've seen all the UFCs since then. And yeah, it's just an interesting phenomenon, because in the West, and just this day and age in general, we're so competitive. and we're so eager to see like who's at the top of each hill in every different kind of sport and athletic event you can think of. I mean, we have the Olympics and we have all kinds of major professional sports. But it's only in the past 20 years or so that we've had mixed martial arts competition, you know, where pretty much anything goes. And it's not fully evolved yet by any means, and there's still a lot of just entertainment, overly dramatized parts of it. It's kind of hard to explain. But as far as finding out who the highest and most evolved specimens, you know, of mankind, you're just not going to find a better example anywhere else than the MMA world. So, that said, that was about the documentary. It was entertaining. And it's also entertaining to hear like the people he beat in those first few tournaments, after all these years talking about it and reminiscing about it. It was really interesting. The Keith Hackneys and the Dan Severins and that boxer who tried to get in there with a boxing glove. Like I said, good entertainment. But then after that was the rerun of the premiere of the Today's Ultimate Fighter reality show. The competition where they take a bunch of amateur mixed martial artists and they put them against each other and they, you know, run them through the ropes, and it's a competition at the end. Whoever wins, whoever's not voted out of the house or gets beat in a fight, or I'm not sure how they decide who gets kicked out, but they end up with a UFC contract at the end. One person does. So there's two teams, two coaches, Josh Koscheck and George St. Pierre. And this first episode was, I think they had 30 total fighters at the beginning in this episode, and they had 15 fights, and you had to win the fight to move into the house and just be a part of the show, be one of the 15 that start. I think there's 15 that start, and I think that's kind of what happened. So anyway, GSP and Koscheck and Dana White, they were the judges, and you had 15 fights real quick, a little brief history of each fighter before on some of them they ran through real quick, but it was really entertaining just to see that many fights that quick and just see people get eliminated immediately and then people come out of nowhere. There was a few knockouts and there was a few pretty impressive submissions, but overall there didn't seem like anybody that was really spectacularly skilled in any area. And there didn't seem like there was anybody with that real vicious killer instinct that kind of gives the individual the edge over the skilled people. But it seemed like there was a lot of talent, so hopefully some big names will come out of this, and hopefully they'll beef up the lightweight division. Basically, the way I see the lightweight division right now, Gray Maynard and Frankie Edgar are kind of at the top. BJ, of course, he's always at the top. He'll be at the top of a lot of our books for a long time. I don't know what's going on in his head. Or, well, I kind of briefly explained it before. I don't think he trains as hard as he can. I just don't think he mentally gets it yet. He's evolving from what he used to be, and he's way further ahead than he could be. He could still be a terrible force to reckon with if he would just lower his shoulder to the grindstone a little more, I think, but I have no idea. He could have a disease, or he could just lost a step. You never really know in this game. So, like I said, the lightweight division in the UFC, it can use a lot more competition. So hopefully we'll get it out of this show. Besides the fighting, the show is it's almost hard to watch because it's geared towards such a juvenile audience. All the drama and just the tension back and forth and the dialogue, it all seems contrived. It doesn't even seem like it really happened most of the time. It seems like they just did it in the editing room. They just got a few snippets of dialogue here and there, and then they put them together to make it seem like a conversation. I don't know. I just don't get that part of it. It's not really reality. There's really a line blurred between it being a reality show and just a dramatic fighting show. But anyway, I better let you go. I'm about to work. MMA, yeah, it's in the air. I got to start training. I don't know when my career is going to start, but I got to be ready for it when it does. So that's it. That's all I got for now.